Whitehall Stable is having a breakout year. Hi, I'm Jim Pippo. I'm really excited to share this dream. I've put together an expert team that personally picks quality thoroughbreds.
We have an exciting roster of 2-year-olds this year. It's a great opportunity.
Shares are now available. Low risk to you at fair prices. I will manage your investment because it's also mine. See your horse run this year at Saratoga. Join the excitement. Go to whitehallstable.com or call today. This is great. It's a lot of fun. You're right next to the trainer. You're right next to the jockey.
I really felt they were the first organization that treated me as an individual, not as an investor. We've been in another racing partnership. You didn't even know who your other partners were. Harding Glass is like one big happy family.
Join Saratoga's original racing partnership. Visit us online at hardingglassracing.com.
This is the OTB Communications Network.
Now, Track Facts with Tom Amello and
Morning racing fans on this kind of gloomy fall day, but it's never gloomy here at Capital Off Track. Tom Amello and Nick Kling here at Track Facts Live. We want to thank the folks at Harding Glass Racing, Whitehall Stable, and Saratoga Water Company for sponsoring the program. As you can see, there's a space between Mr. Kling and myself, and this chair is reserved for OTB President John Signer, who will be joining us after our first commercial break in about 10, 12 minutes.
I thought maybe it was, that you had the swine flu and you
No.
didn't want to pass
He's out taking care of business, all business presidential, and will be in to join us shortly. A couple of things, lots to talk about, actually. Next week, it's the ARC, and we're fortunate once again to have analysis from our good friend Mark Kramer, who lives in Paris, and we're looking forward to what he has to say about the upcoming races. The ARC itself will air at 10:15 next week, so we'll be on the air at about 10 o'clock. We'll talk a little bit about the race, then we'll watch the race, and Nikki, it's going to be interesting. See the Stars seems to be the key horse, and the question is how boggy it may become. And then several often make the trip for the Classic. So,
Yeah, generally, it's been a bet against if the ARC winner comes over to the Breeders' Cup. In most years previous, they've come to the turf, not the Classic. I don't think by any means it's likely or probable that See the Stars will come for the Classic, but it is possible. There is an extra week this year because the Breeders' Cup is being held in Southern California. So, October 4th to November 7th, in theory, could be time to recover. But again, Breeders' Cup or ARC winners have been bet against in the Breeders' Cup.
well, I can tell you right now, Andre Fabre has a runner who he thinks will run well in the ARC. As usual, we hope he has a runner who runs well in the ARC, comes for the turf. We just send it in, right? Mm-hmm. A couple of other things. Nikki, I thought yesterday's race at Naira with Indian Blessing and Sarah Louise was just a wonderful race. And Bed of Roses.
It's a good example of how sometimes you don't need a large field to get a great race. You had two very sharp fillies. You had a couple of other horses that looked like they had a chance to contend, but they really didn't. And it came down to the two favorites. They were both about 7-5 or thereabouts in the wagering. I've forgotten whether I think Sarah Louise actually went off
favorite.
to the
Yeah,
post-time
6-5,
favorite.
7-5, yeah.
but it was a great race, and Indian Blessing could have easily given it up versus the younger filly, but she didn't. And I enjoyed reading the quotes after the race. Rick Matee, Godolphin's U.S.-based trainer, said that as well as Sarah Louise had trained, he didn't see how she could lose, but she got beaten. It was a great race.
That's right. And now the question is whether or not Indian Blessing will run in the filly mare sprint.
Well, it's pretty clear that she's not as effective on synthetic surfaces. She ran pretty well last year, but not well enough to beat Ventura, who excels on synthetic surfaces, although I guess Ventura is not necessarily a lock for the filly and mare sprint. She's also got the Breeders' Cup Mile as a possibility, but I wouldn't be surprised if Indian Blessing doesn't run in the Breeders' Cup, so we'll see.
Trainer Rick Violet has been talking about worst case scenario, getting back to the races. This one has a case, as Rick Dutrow would say, of sore feets. We got feets problems here, and that's never good. That's never good.
No foot, no horse.
No foot, no
it's
horse.
It's not that hard.
Yeah, and I was saying to Nick beforehand that we were fortunate. I look at the chair. We were fortunate enough to have Rick Violet with us. We talked a little about worst case scenario. At the time, on air or off air, he didn't mention anything about the potential 4-foot problem with this horse. And now he says, well, you got a big, wide, flat foot, which is prone to something, but no foot, no horse. And this is a nice horse. I mean, the effort at Saratoga was just tremendous.
And I don't really know that there's that much difference between the track surface at Belmont that there is at Saratoga. I do know that trainer after trainer raved about how good Saratoga was this year and how, horses really did well on the track and ran well and loved it and came off the track well. And, there were no catastrophic injuries on the dirt track at Saratoga this year. So, kudos to Naira for a great job there, but I'm not sure that Belmont is any different.
We'd be remiss if we didn't bring up this whole notion of Lavaman's return to working after some experience at some equine hospital or the like with stem cell therapy. And Nick, I want to tell you right now, if this works for Lavaman and this 8-year-old runs like a 4-year-old, after I get out of the hyperbaric chamber, I'm going to California for some stem cell.
I'm checking in too.
I'm telling you.
But seriously though, I think that the thing that concerns racing fans is, he's an 8-year-old now. He's won, I forgot, $5 million. Is there a reason to do this? And, we can only hope and assume that his owner and trainer will do the right thing. And if it doesn't look like he's going to come back, in racing sound and good form, that they pull the plug. That's what they say they will do. So let's hope that proves to be the case.
Yeah, and I think it's fair for everyone to understand that as part of Lavaman's participation in this research, he had to return to the track to work out. Now that may be the source of rumor and not the source of fact. He's on the post-retirement bandwagon. Nikki, we would be remiss if we did not mention the recent payouts to the right, the wrong, and the indifferent horse in this pick 4. I'm sorry, not the pick 4, the Superfecta at Naira. Shades of Alemus. We don't know the right one, so we'll pay one. Let's just talk about that. And
well, I haven't talked to any of the people involved yet. I do know one of them very well, and I'm acquainted with the other two. I know they're people that work very hard. And I've seen a couple of people, there was, some sort of a cover-up, or they had bet on, that's just ridiculous. There's no nefarious activity here. It was just a mistake, which is kind of interesting because when I was listening to the race the other day, Tom Durkin, when he called the race, he called the correct horse 4th. Then apparently after everybody had crossed the line, he looked at the posting on the board, and he kind of hesitated for a minute when he mentioned the name of the fourth place finisher, because it wasn't the one he had called for. And, to kind of sum it up, you could see there was some confusion on Tom's part, but apparently, and see, another factor is racing fans several years ago voted with, their money and their opinions that they wanted the quick official. There used to be a 2 or 3 minutes longer between the end of the race and before the prices were made official than there is now. Now they have, outriders that can contact the stewards immediately if a jockey wants to object or anyway hold up the making the race official. So if there's nothing to hold up making it official, you have the quick official, and that's what people want. And apparently this is one case where the quick official came back to bite the placing judges, in the wrong place.
And I'm just going to say this, that NYRA being compelled to pay everybody makes the Alamuse folks unhappy.
Well, I think there was a lot of confusion because initially NYRA's VP for Mutuals, Pat Mahoney, said, the racing law didn't require them to pay the wrong payout, even though they had made it official. And by the next morning, apparently, they'd been advised otherwise by the State Racing and Wagering Board that they had to pay what they had made official. And, so all I can say is that I hope you...
Don't you wish you had the 1013? Anyhow,
look,
you make the
human error involved.
You make the right point. It's human error, and the question is, sanctions. What happens to anybody who caused it? Because it doesn't happen. I mean, how many misplaced horses have we had over the years?
Yeah, it's
and when it happens, certainly it's not. And
the
other thing, it's not nefarious. This is not.
No, there's no nefarious intent involved. I can't remember this happening before in the 20-plus years that I've been involved. And maybe with New York racing, maybe it has, but I certainly don't remember it. And again, I personally know one of the 3 placing judges, and I'm acquainted with the other 2. They're good people that were there to do the job correctly, and there's just human error involved.
Last thing before we go to commercial break, and that is IEH bought Diamondrella, and they'll race her. She'll remain in the care of trainer Angel Penna. This is a nice horse, Mickey. They plan to race her at least once more, and perhaps go to the Breeders' Cup, and then probably the breeding shed to Big Brown. And I guess where I am on this is the game going to sort of come down to IEH and its millions upon millions, and Godolphin and its Godolphin, Darley, and
Jess Jackson.
I mean, is the game going to come down to that? And the good news is they all have enough horses. We can fill fields of great horses.
Well, it's interesting because when I heard the announcement that Diamondrella had been sold, my reaction is kind of different than when I hear that maybe somebody else like Jackson or like Godolphin has bought a horse. IEH doesn't have quite the good PR that some of these other folks do.
Right.
Let's just leave it at that.
Okay, 2 things before we go to commercial break. Top Turf Teddy sends in a play today. Monmouth Park, the 9th race, the 6th. Bunker Hill at 5-1, no less than 5-1. Likes the horse. It's back in a much better spot. And it pains me greatly to read you this. Please, Nick, please give yourself a track fact salute on today's show. So I'll do it for you. Not only does Nick Off portend an impending winner, I want you to know Nick On works. Last Sunday, I emailed you for your comments on Gathering Cloud, a horse I really liked that day at Belmont. Nick said he preferred Asphalt. I looked over the race some more and saw your reasoning, so thanks to you, I decided I'd better use Asphalt and keep both horses in the exotics for a nice score. Long live the new angle. Nick On. My God, you're getting You're getting Caesar-type
Well,
praise here.
the emailer's horse, Gathering Cloud, was the one that made the
exactly.
number, because he was like 6 or 7 to 1, and Asphalt, who I believe, was the favorite.
That's right.
So.
The chalk-eating dog helped you out here. All right, we're going to go to commercial break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Capital OTB President John Signer. Your emails and your phone calls are anticipated. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, and the seat has been filled. Yes, our mystery guest is no longer a mystery. We've got Capital OTB President John Signer. This is his heir, and he's here to talk about the corporation and the state of racing in New York, as well as, John, the latest promotion we have is the statewide handicapping contest, which Albany Teletheater is going to play a big part, right?
Albany Teletheater, yeah. The OTBs collectively are throwing their second contest together. We first did the Pick Six contest up at Saratoga.
Let's hear it for Dave Litfin.
Dave Litfin, hit the Pick Six on Woodward Day.
Yeah.
So I think it paid out $15,000. So
right.
12 participants shared that. But our most recent promotion is the OTB contest, $75,000 handicapping championship. And it's going to be across the state at obviously all the OTBs, but we're going to have it at 7 of our locations, including, and you can go, I think, on our website to get the...
I can read them.
Yeah, sure.
It's the Teletheater at 711 Central, Turnpike OTB in my neighborhood in Rensselaer, the Friar Tuck Robin Hood Lounge at Route 32 in Catskill, Woodlawn here in Schenectady, Glen Falls at 5157 South Street in Glen Falls, and the Bridgeport out at Route 31 in Bridgeport, Partners Pub in Johnstown, and the Valley Plaza Shopping Complex out in New Lebanon. That's a lot of sites.
Yeah, it's a lot of sites. And so you can go to those sites, and you have to go the day of the contest, which is next Saturday. It's a very reasonable fee. It's $20 to enter. I guess you can get up to 2 applications or whatever, submissions. And you have to pick the winners of the races on that day, which is Jockey Gold Cup Day, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So
right. Big day,
big race day.
5
so
grade ones.
yeah, so we expect to have a very large, number of people entering the contest, and it should be very good. I think the top prize is, if we get the number of applications that we believe we will get, is $40,000. And the cool thing is the championship, which is held on October 24th, we take the 5 top winners, if you will, from each region, is going to be held at the Teletheater. Mm-hmm. So that'll be the 24th, so that'll be exciting as well to get everybody there and see who the champion is. We're also going to send 3 of those individuals to the $1 million, I think, Orleans handicaking contest.
Now you do have to send a representative from Albany with them, and Nick and I are applying for the. No, I'm only.
But it's really it's a great contest, and it shows what the OTBs can do when we work together. And We're trying, and I'm trying to find a way to do it over the internet as well. We haven't done it yet, so these sites are what they are now. If you're going to enter the contest, you're going to have to go to these sites unless you hear something different. But I know we do a lot of contests on the internet. We do our giant jackpot, and I'm trying to figure out why we can't have people enter the contest through the internet. The only issue would be getting the money out of their account. They'd have to have money in their account. We'd have to get it before the first race went off. So that's the only thing. But if we can do it, we will, and we'll announce it. But again, the 7 sites that you announced right now are the official sites. And if we're able to do something in addition, you'll hear it on the channel or you'll see it on the website.
Yeah, the logistics of the entry fee makes sense as something to work on. Okay. By the way, between the Pick Sixes and this, as you pointed out, these are examples of collaboration among the 6 corporations. I guess I'm going to ask: does this bode well for future collaboration?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, we did this last year, Just Capital. A lot of things that we're kind of broadening out to include everybody else. We've done here initially, and the other contest that we're working on is a Breeders' Cup Pick Six, which we did last year with Steve Chris, and he hit it and paid out $66,000. Collectively, the OTBs are going to throw in, I think, $1,000 each. So instead of $5,000, we'll have $6,000, and we'll have participants from all over the state. So we are working together more closely on a lot of these issues, and I think it bodes well for the patrons and horse racing fans across the state, because you'll have more contests and you'll be competing against other OTBs, so it's kind of it's kind of a good thing.
So where do you want to go now?
Yeah, I'll talk about the Saratoga meet. We had a very good Saratoga meet. Our handle on the Saratoga races, and I'm not even sure anybody else was like this or hit these numbers. We were up on Saratoga. We were up 0.5%, and which is very good. Just on the Saratoga meet, 36 days. On all racing during that time, we were down about 4%. But again, Del Mar canceled their Monday cards and things like that. So obviously, handle wasn't going to go up. But we were very happy with the Saratoga numbers. I think we did better than anybody in the state. And I think it's the fact that we have a lot of loyal patrons out there that hopefully we continue to make happy and try to make a lot of the changes that we are continue to try to enhance our product to keep them loyal to Capital OTB. And I'll give you one example. I mean, I think our internet site is doing very well. I know I use it a lot. And it's very the thing about it's very simple, and it's just a wagering platform. And we have been talking about enhancing it, improving it, adding to it. And one of the things that we are definitely going to do, and hopefully it'll be done sooner rather than later, is add race replays on our site. We think it's the right way to go, and so you can expect that in the near future. But if anybody, we have an internal internet committee that looks at the product, looks at other products, and tries to find things that we believe would benefit our customers. Add that. There's nothing wrong with plagiarism. See something good over here and add it to our site. And I would just open it up to the patrons. If you have, if you use our site and you think there are ways to improve it, we'd love to hear from you. We're very responsive, and if there are things that we can do that we think will improve the site and make our patrons better educated in their wagering process, we will certainly do that. The other, obviously, and one of the reasons I wanted to come on was to also talk about kind of the state of racing in New York and kind of where everything is. And I this will probably, filibuster for maybe a couple minutes and then we can go to phone calls or something. But there's a number of things going on the fans should know, and I'm sure they've read a lot of the stories. First, you have obviously NYRA is still trying to get their VLTs. There's been recent stories that they've narrowed it down to, I think, 3 vendors or something like that, which is probably a good thing. It'll strengthen NYRA's product, their finances, and hopefully strengthen, racing, that portion of the racing industry in New York State. On another front, you have the task force on the future of OTBs, which was created when New York City OTB was taken over by New York State. The task force has met a number of times. They, I believe they have one more meeting at the end of September, and then they're expected to come out with their recommendations at the end of the year. I gave a presentation at the New York State Association of Counties annual conference last week, and I shared the table with the panel with John Van Lin, who's the chair of the task force. And I thought we had a good give and take. I mean, John, I thought it was interesting that John said something like, now you can have the view of the opposition. I don't really view us as the opposition. I view us as, major players in the industry, and John should be trying, working to strengthen the industry. It was an interesting comment. But more interesting were some of the stats he used, and then he said that handle in New York State, I think, including OTBs and tracks, 10 years ago was $2.7 billion, and that's declined to $2.4 billion. But the other issue he raised, which is something we've been pushing, and I know a lot of the fans use these products, and we're not trying to, totally prevent that from happening, but we're trying to level the playing field, is a lot of these out-of-state internet sites coming in and taking bets from New York residents. John estimated it, well, and it was funny because John said, it's going down to 2.4 billion, and we don't see it, going back up. We see it continue to decline. But in the next breath, he talked about these out-of-state internet sites that are coming in and taking bets from New York residents, and he estimates it's to the tune of $200 to $400 million a year. So I think it's pretty obvious where that difference went. It went to these out-of-state internet sites.
And so, John, the 2.4 billion is just wagers made at NYRA and the 6 OTBs.
Right, and the harness tracks.
And the harness tracks, correct.
And the thing that we've pushed is that, a lot of the internet sites that come in, they don't go after, guys like us or, generally guys who are betting $10 a race or whatever. They go after guys who are betting, $10,000 a race.
Right.
They're going after the big guys. And if we lose a few of those guys, then obviously that has a major impact on handle, and the money that's being wagered out of state none of the money goes to the state, none of the money goes to, in our view, the counties. It doesn't go to the breeders. There's a whole litany of things that where that money benefits if it stays in state. So what we've told the state is that we'd like them to regulate these entities and let them, they can come in. We don't mind competing with them, but just level the playing field. We have to pay a regulatory fee. We have to pay, the counties get a portion of our money. If they're going to come in and take bets from New Yorkers, then they should have to pay the same type of fees we do. Therefore, it probably will be less attractive for them to come in, and a lot of that money we believe will come back to us. And we're one of the more aggressive OTBs. We do rewards. We do a lot of contests. We try to give a lot. We our internet site, we give free we give free PPs. We have we have the virtual tote board. We have the video streaming up now. I mean, we really have, in my view, a competitive product that will only get better going forward. But so that's, and then just one last piece of it is New York City OTB. So we're waiting on the task force to give us recommendations, and then you have New York City OTB, which was announced that they plan to go into bankruptcy, I think, or give a plan to the federal court to go into bankruptcy, Chapter 9 bankruptcy reorganization, I think at the end of October. And then that plan would include some of the changes that are necessary to make OTBs, specifically New York City OTB, profitable going forward. I mean, one of the things that has happened is that New York City OTB is in bankruptcy. They lost a lot of money, and there's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, to be honest, when it was run by New York City, the management there, while they could do stuff on the fringes, they didn't, you couldn't make the changes necessary to make it profitable because you had the mayor saying, oh, you're going to lay people off? Well, I don't think so. I'm, running for re-election next year. Now it's with the state, and it's it's kind of a similar issue. Nobody wants to, a lot of it is the number of staff that are there, and it has to be adjusted. But so they're going to submit that plan, and it's going to include some of the changes that we want as well. The issue that we're pushing is, number one, we want to continue to have local control of the OTBs. We think that's the only way the counties continue to get money. And I know there's a lot of consolidate all the OTBs and do this and do that. Trust me, I mean, look at what happened up at Saratoga with the VLTs. The state made made a pledge to give Saratoga County a portion of those VLTs, and then they changed the formula, and now Saratoga County gets no money from the VLTs, or very little. So don't think for a second that if the state takes over the OTBs or they consolidate, that the counties are going to get the money that they were getting as they have been getting for the last 30 years. So that's the point we're making. But we also understand the OTBs have to work more closely together and find ways to become more efficient. I mean, I've been on here before. We've cut spending 5 years in a row. We cut spending $1 million this year so far. And it's not because we're bloated. It's because we're finding ways to do things better and more efficiently. And we continue to look at ways to do that. So, and as I was saying, just one last point: the New York City OTB is losing money and having significant issues. The other 5 OTBs, for the most part, continue to be profitable. We're profitable. We're still, our handle's still down, just like nationally and everybody in New York State. But I think we're doing better than anybody else in New York State. I think we're down, a little over 8%, where others are down 13 and 12. So I believe, it's because we try to be responsive to the patrons. We try to offer, a rewards program that at least shows that we respect them and we want to give something back, even though it's not what these out-of-state internet sites can give. So that's kind of, so we'll wait for that to be delivered to the federal court, and then subsequently the legislature is going to have to buy into that. Obviously, there's a lot going on at the governor's office that leads you to believe it's possible that he may not even be governor, run for re-election, which takes away a lot of his just ability to get things done. If they know you're not going to run for re-election, you kind of lose that bully pulpit a little bit. So if he's pushing stuff, it's hard to believe that a lot of these things are going to get done, if that's the case.
And so, John, just to make sure, in case there's 5 people out there that don't understand it, Capital OTB, your operating statement and balance sheet has nothing to do with New York City OTB.
No, we're totally,
New York City OTB's bankruptcy has nothing to do with Capital.
We're totally two different, we're 2 separate entities. All the OTBs are separate entities. And the other thing is, you have to remember that the OTBs have created, and it was before I got here, created this distribution model that where nearly $2 billion is wagered each year. And it was done at no cost to the tracks. It was done at no cost to the counties, yet they all benefit as a result of it. And it's the largest wagering network in the nation, the 6 OTBs. So while there are some flaws, I'll be the first to admit it, there are things that need to be changed, there are things that need to be done. We also are saying don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And also remember that part of the OTBs, and I know a lot of the folks watching are racing fans, but they're also taxpayers, and they also live in the counties most likely that we benefit. You got to remember, we benefit the counties. We give Albany County $1 million. We give Rensselaer County $400,000. We give Saratoga County, because of the bets we take on Saratoga Racing, we give them $400,000 a year. So the surrounding counties are benefiting from OTB. We're also we also take up storefronts. We have branches. We're in the communities. We have 300 employees in upstate New York, which is, so, there are a lot of benefits that we bring to the communities beyond just the money we provide. So I guess, we'll see where, nobody knows what's going to happen in the end here, but I wanted to give everybody, if anybody cares, I wanted to give people just a rundown of kind of what it looks like and what the process will be. And I think at the end of the year, you'll have a lot of things happening. And we'll see, what recommendations come out. And we hope that they're objective and look to continue to benefit the counties as much as they benefit horse racing.
John, just a question before we go to break. You talked about the various ways people can bet through OTB. The internet, we got the easy bets, the branches, and the teletheater. I'm just curious, because a big part of this game is what I would call the mutual part. For the most part, folks don't go to the track by themselves, if you will,
Right.
and sit isolated. Although, that's a good way to focus, if you will. However, so we've got the growth in internet. Certainly, that's not
Right.
going to go. I'm just curious about where your vision with respect to Easy Bets branches and teletheater-like places.
Yeah, that's a great point, Tom. The mantra that has been used by a lot of the kind of racing industry, and it's an ironic thing. Well, I'll just stop there. I'll go with the what they've been saying. It's basically that the industry is moving towards account wagering, which admittedly it is. And they're trying to convince people that you really don't need branches, you don't need Easy Bets so much. You just need, internet.
A PDA.
Yeah, you need the internet. And while that's all well and good, and maybe, in my view, maybe 5 or 10 years down the line, that's probably going to be more the case. The OTBs, from our vantage point, we still do 80% of our handles in our branches.
Wow.
80%. So when they get up there and say, well, you don't need the branches anymore, let's close down all these branches and let's just do the internet, the fact is the OTBs collectively do about 80%, 75 to 80% in the branches. So I think people are being naive in their comments, and we just have to educate the state officials and the elected officials that what's being said, may be the case. That's our biggest growth area is the internet, no doubt about it. And maybe 5 or 10 years down the line, maybe that's where the bulk of your energies go. But right now, I don't think you can ignore 80% of your business.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say, because I think places like the Winner's Circle, the teletheater itself, the branches from time to time get more or less comfortable. Easy Bets give you a totally different context, if you will.
Yeah, ironically, New York City OTB has reached out to us and asked us about the Easy Bet concept. So clearly they're looking at kind of best practices that are happening at other OTBs and are going to look to probably implement those with their operation. But, we started doing, before I got here, they started Easy Bets. Capital OTB was the first one to do it. We believe, that's the other, people say, oh, the OTBs, this is the point I tried to make at the NYSAC conference was, the OTBs are hurting racing because people aren't going to the track and blah blah blah. In my view, we're creating new fans. Look, and I just look at myself personally. I'm getting older and older now. But when I was a youngster back in college, I went to the Latham branch. I went to school at Siena, and me and my buddies went to the Latham branch, and we came to the teletheater, and that's how we became racing fans. Now, we did go to Saratoga Harness, and we went to Saratoga Racetrack, but how our interest was maintained by going to OTB. And now I have, myself and 5 of my buddies still all play a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, and but that's how we became fans. So I guess my point is, I think we help create new fans. In addition to benefiting the tracks and through the money we pay them, so that's just one point that I made that I think is also somewhat of a fallacy. That nobody's driving to Aqueduct during the winter from the capital region, but they'll certainly come to an OTB branch, make a bet. And that benefits the taxpayers here, and it benefits the track down there.
And I guess as a Siena College grad, I would say that it was always good to be able to know that you could register for a course that took place after the double still get the bet in and get back to. I'm only kidding. We're going to take a commercial break. We're going to open up the phone lines. We already have an email question for John. I'll give it to him over the break. So 370-1315, give us a call. There it is, 1-888-253-253-8562 if you're out of the area, or viewer mail at capitalotb.com. We'll be right back. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're joined today, Capital OTB President John Signer. We had an email question which I posed to John. I'll just repeat it. Could you, John, explain why Capital prefers to simulcast racing from Presque Isle instead of Arlington? Or, John, the general question is why tracks A, B, and C and not other tracks? And then the other question is, the problem of tracks having their races going off at the same time, over which we have no control. You have no control. Go ahead.
Well, generally, what we try to put on our TV station are the highest, have the highest handle. So the tracks you see, for the most part, will be the tracks that we generate the most handle on those tracks. I would make two other points. Number one is that we also have the video streaming online, where if we're not showing it on the TV station, most likely you'll be able to go online and watch it. But number two, I believe Arlington's post time is, I think, 2 o'clock generally,
Right.
and I think Presque Isle is at 5-ish, isn't it?
Yeah, on Friday, Presque Isle's post time was 5:30 and Arlington
so I
2
think,
o'clock.
Yeah, so Arlington, probably what happened was
Overlapping.
we already had 4 tracks running that generated more handle than Arlington. And just off the top of my head, I'm not sure, but it's probably Belmont, Finger Lakes,
Right.
Monmouth, and then whatever the fourth track, whatever that fourth track would be. And then we wouldn't add in generally a 5th track to that, but we would add in Presque Isle once those tracks ended.
Right.
That's when that would start. So we did have a situation though, and sometimes this happens and sometimes it doesn't. But last week we were showing the Little Brown Jug, and we got a couple emails saying, why it wasn't Arlington included. So we did include Arlington, and a credit to our staff downstairs. I know they probably don't like it when I added extra track in because it means more work, but they always they always do it, and they do a good job. And so we had 5 tracks running that day because they had the Little Brown Jug, and I think it had like 20 races. So,
Right.
But we we don't want to ignore the harness people, and we want to make sure that they get their due as well. So we kept Little Brown Jug's races in, but we also added Arlington back. So so we are, we sometimes are fluid. If you see something, send an email to viewer mail. Don't send it every day though, but so once in a while, if I think that we can add a track or change a track, we'll do that.
Okay, let's go to the phone lines.
We're going to start this morning with Bob in Saratoga. Bob, good morning. What's on your mind?
Good morning.
Hey,
How
Bob.
are you guys today?
Excellent.
Good.
Couple of things for John, and one of the two of them, I hope you don't take any offense with. They're meant in the spirit of trying to improve things.
Okay.
When I turned on my computer this morning for the past performances, Capital OTB, one track was missing. Guess what it was? Belmont.
Presque Isle? No. Belmont. Okay. Is that right?
So there was no. I don't know if it's on now, but when I went on early this morning, it had Cedar Downs, but it didn't have Belmont.
Okay.
So that was something. It's a very tough position, I think, to be in for OTB, as far as competing with these huge rebate houses that are around the country. One of the things that I've always felt is there's a lot of people who, for whatever reason, can't really afford to put $300 in their account to keep it there, and
Right.
they're $2 and $5 bettors and everything. Instead of rebates, why don't you just eliminate all rebates and pay track odds?
Yeah, I mean that's a good, fair point. I think if you notice on the internet side, we have made that surcharge free, so you get track odds on the internet.
Right, but a lot of people are still,
in the branch.
in the opinion of, obviously they don't know how to use computers, they don't have them, or something like that. That's just a suggestion because
It's a fair point.
I really think that would help a lot. I mean, unlike some people I know, I find your customer service department to be very helpful.
Good.
And very good.
Yeah,
And the only other thing, and I wish maybe you'd take a minute or two to address this, compared to the other accesses that we have to call, and I'll use WristBet example, the operators are so much more professional. I mean, I literally cringe when I call and get some of the operators. When they say their number, I say, oh no, I'm going to have to be real careful here. You have about 5 wonderful operators.
Okay.
And I can tell you their numbers. I've got them committed to memory. But it's not an absolute complaint, John, but
Right. Yeah.
I really think somebody needs to be careful of that, and I appreciate the things you do, and maybe you might want to consider that.
All right,
Thanks
great.
a lot.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks for the
Yeah,
call.
2 good points. And we do have staff that monitors the operators. They listen in on the calls. You know, when I came here 8 years ago, geez, it's been a long time. But Mike Connery was president, I was vice president. The one thing that we wanted to do was improve the phone center, and we had at the time, we had 10% of the calls were dropped. In other words, they never made a bet. And we said, you know, in my view, that was just lost money. So we improved the product. We have a phone, we have a monitoring system that shows how long, the average time they're on the call, how many calls they take, you know, in an hour, and we compare them all. And we did, you know, get rid of a lot of phone operators who weren't, you know, up to snuff. And it is something we monitor, and if you do have a problem with any particular one, you know, let us know, and we can go back and listen to them and make sure they're doing a good job. I mean, I use the system, and generally, I haven't had any problems. So, but if you do, let us know. And like I said, we try to be very responsive, and if we need to tell them they need to speak more clearly, or they need to take their time and make sure the bet gets in, we'll do that. But we do monitor them.
All right, let's go to Green Island.
Jerry in Green Island is next. Jerry, good morning.
Good morning, Nick, John, and Tom, and thank you for bringing John aboard. One of my biggest beefs that I have is I know that I have an OTB account, phone and bet account.
Right.
And I like to watch the simulcasting of the races. My only problem I have is that I know you take NYRA and focus on them. But let me just tell you something now that Saratoga's over. You know, I have to sit there and listen to these guys handicap the race for, 4 or 5 minutes. Then we have to watch the horses go out of the paddock, onto the track, from Aqueduct or Belmont, wherever they're at. And then we have to wait, and by the time we get through with all that, now we get the simulcasting of the other tracks. The problem is we're almost up to post time by the time that's all done, and naturally you would like to see maybe if you hit one of the other tracks before you could go ahead and bet Belmont. I mean, the thing is, if I wanted to strictly have NYRA, I would have a NYRA account. I have a Capital OTB account, and I am interested in the fact that you carry the tracks that you carry.
Right.
With that, I'm going to let you go, and John, I'd like your comment on that.
Yeah, sure. A couple things. Number one is we have to show the NYRA product, NYRA race, Finger Lakes race, the New York tracks live. They have to be shown live. Now, if there's a conflict between Finger Lakes and NYRA, we'll go to the NYRA track and then show Finger Lakes at a replay. The other tracks that you see, we have to replay. We can't show those tracks live when NYRA races. So that's one of the things that has to be taken into account. I believe that if we have another track that's having a big race day, I know, for example, this Saturday, I think Turfway Park had 3 stakes races. I know the TV station, does their best effort to try to get, information from that track on those big race days. Tom says this a lot. We only have one channel, and we do the best we can. There's no doubt, though, Jerry, we do focus on NYRA. But I also believe, in my opinion, that's what makes us better than a lot of these other services, TVG and HRTV or whatever. They'll treat River Downs the same way NYRA's treated. In our view, NYRA's the best product. Our fans, for the most part, are focused on the NYRA product. It's by far our biggest handle. And we have a good relationship with NYRA, with Charlie Hayward there, and We believe the way we do it is the right way. You know, there's always going to be folks who want to focus on another track, but I do believe if there's big races from another track, we will go there. But if you have a NYRA race and you have a 5,000 claimer from Monmouth, we're not going to treat, or whatever, we're not going to treat those equally. We're going to stick with the NYRA product. So it's just the way it is.
Let's go to Glens Falls.
Mike in Glens Falls. Mike, good morning. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning.
Mike, got to turn your TV down.
Hey, Mike.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Mike.
I would talk about Indian Blessing yesterday. What a race that was.
Yes.
And I can't see how a bunch of these handicappers, they're throwing Indian Blessing out.
I didn't see the race.
He was 3 for 4 at Belmont, and he only had one race coming back. And everybody's writing him off. Baffert's got it in the paper. This is going to be his breakout party, and everybody's throwing him out.
Well, who do you mean everybody? And
Well,
that's the
Andy
first.
Sterling said he on his comment yesterday, he's washed up.
Well, I just have to say two things. When it comes to odds-on favorites or heavily bet favorites or favorites in general, you got to make a decision as a public handicapper, as a personal handicapper. Does the horse have an edge? Indian Blessing needed a race like this and was going to be short odds. And given the way the race came out, we're all delighted. I think we're delighted at the effort and happy for Indian Blessing. Sarah Louise gave a heck of an effort, and you're really talking about a head bob. Favorites are either horses you can use with confidence in the first or second slot, or horses that you need to take a stand against. And if you've listened to the NYRA feed enough, I'm going to be an Andy apologist here. Andy has said throughout, I think, the last 2 days, because it was kind of a chalky day, he said, look, I've stood against a lot of favorites. On those days, he gets beat. And on the days when he's right, he's cashing value tickets. Nick?
Yeah, not a lot to add, Mike. I think it's an exaggeration to say that everybody was throwing her out because she was 7 to 5. So it was a pretty short price, but I think Tom has it right. When you got two equal favorites, you have to make an opinion which one you prefer, because if you like them both, you're guaranteed not to make much money.
It looks to me like before the wire and after the wire, Sarah Louise was the horse on the bob.
Well, it was close,
but it was close.
Even though Indian Blessing didn't break that great.
Yeah.
Yeah, she broke slow. The inside post.
But now she's 4 for 5 at Belmont, won over $3 million.
Yep.
And I love the horse myself, and I love Sarah Louise too. I mean, I just thought it was one heck of a race.
It really was.
It was a great race, Mike. Thanks
All
for your
right,
call.
thank you.
All right, thank you so much for the call. We appreciate it. Let's see. Let's go to Schenectady, and we'll keep the live calls, and then we'll go to the internet.
Ed in
We got a couple
Schenectady
open
is
lines.
next. Ed, good morning. Go ahead.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Terrific.
I'm going to pose my question and hang up and listen to you on the TV here.
Okay.
I've always found OTB to be very better friendly. It's how I got involved in racing, and I love it, being able to go to OTB and watch the races from all over. The one thing, though, about a year ago is your elimination of the wall charts, being able to walk in and just see what you want and place your bets and walk out. I've noticed that there are tracks that you take bets on for which you can't buy any past performances in the racing form or the things you have available for purchase in the racing centers. I'm wondering what was the reasoning behind the elimination of all the wall charts, and is there any way of rectifying the situation of where you're not offering any kind of PPs on tracks that you're offering to take bets on? And I'll hang up and listen.
Thanks,
Thank
Ed.
you.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. This isn't. It's not a new issue. I'll say a couple things. Number one is, as I said earlier, Ed, if you do have a Capital OTB account with us, phone a bet account, internet account, you can get free PPs every day. So that's one. That's option number one. I'm not aware of any tracks that we take that the DRF doesn't cover that track.
That does happen.
It does happen at
It does
times,
happen.
yeah.
Well, I assume they're the kind of smaller, more obscure tracks, because the little book generally has like 14, 15 tracks in there. So For the most part, they're covered. We do continue to send the winner's choice sheets out to all the branches. And if you went online and wanted to get one of and downloaded that, it would cost $1. So we sent them out free to all the branches. I think pretty much all the tracks. The issue was, Ed, to be honest, was that we were trying to find ways to run more efficiently, basically cut costs. I mean, let's be honest, to cut costs. And we looked at what all the other OTBs were doing, and we found, none of the other OTBs were sending out all the information that we were free. And we understood it was a risk, and that we may lose some handle as a result of it. And I think, but our other option, to be honest, was to basically lay people off. So I made the decision to eliminate the wall charts. I made the decision, and I've used them before when I was a player. But I think we do send enough information out. We do offer free PPs through our through the internet, and it has, to be honest, it has resulted in us saving significant dollars. And notwithstanding that, even though we probably lost some handle, we're still doing better than everybody else in the state in terms of handle. We have the lowest decline in the state. So while that's one thing you can point at it, and maybe down the line, if we get some help from the state, lets us keep some more of our revenue, maybe that issue can be revisited. But I think we hope that the other things that we offer make up for that, and hopefully we'll keep you as an OTB customer.
John, just a quick question. I mean, for each branch, if you were going to put up a daily racing form, you'd need probably 3 or 4 copies, right?
Yeah.
And currently that's talking $24 a day per. Yeah. I mean, how many branches in each? It multiplies out to
the dollars we were talking about for what we were sending out, and and part of the problem is we'd go out, and there'd be like this much paper that was unused. So in addition to sending out a lot of stuff, there was a lot of stuff not being used. But the dollars are $300,000 in savings. So we haven't hit that number yet, but we've seen a significant savings. And while there was concern, and believe me, this issue came up 2 years ago. It wasn't something we made haphazardly. It was something that we looked at for years, and then really, in my view, the choice was to let people go or do that, and I thought that we could overcome that because of the other things we offer, i.e. the free PPs online and things like that.
Well, just one last thing. I'm told that the DRF at the end of the month is going to $7.
Oh, is that right?
For the second dollar bump in less than a year.
Well, we made a deal with DRF that the books that we sell in the branches, I think if you bought those in a store or something, they're $4. We sell them for $3. And I believe that commitment will continue. I don't know if they're going to raise it to $4 on the little books, but I believe that we'll continue to sell them at $3 because of the deal we cut with them. So I think our patrons will be getting a better deal.
I interrupted you.
And John, I just want to add to, we had a call once before about, you mentioned the winner's choice sheets that Briss produces. When we were doing prime time 2 or 3 years ago, I used those sheets.
Yeah, sure.
Because, while I would handicap these other tracks that I wasn't as familiar with, the winner's choice sheets provided some information, that I might not have. And I can tell you, I would feel very comfortable going to an OTB, using a winner's choice sheet for a track that I hadn't handicapped, and knowing that I could get some good information and have some action. And that's, I'm not going to say they're the same as the PPs, because they're not.
No, you're right.
But they provide excellent information.
Yep.
Let's go to Plattsburgh.
Dan in Plattsburgh, you're next.
Hi, Dan.
Hello, Dan.
I'd like to let you guys be aware that you ought to salute your technical staff. We've been having a problem up in this area with the audio on only your station, Capital OTB, and I guess it started like Tuesday or Wednesday. Anyway, I was in contact with the cable company up here, And rather than go into a tirade of how bad it was, I'll just say it was less than sterling service.
Right.
So finally I said, well, maybe I'll call OTB. I spoke to customer service. They handed me to control and then to the technicians. And within 15 minutes, you could see on the TV screen they were trying to adjust something. And they weren't able to, completely fix it, but it's a little better. Anyway, I called back and I spoke to someone, and they said that they have a problem up here, and there's a part that has to be replaced.
Yep.
Right.
But anyway, I just wanted to congratulate them. At least I got something done.
All right, good. I mean,
And we just got the word.
We just got the word that a new decoder will be sent up there, and that should solve the problem. But the one thing about this corporation is everybody, from what my experience here is everybody has an interest in making the corporation better and working hard in terms of customer service and responding to the patrons. You may not always like what we say sometimes, but you will get a response, and it'll be a direct response, and it'll be, but as you said, Dan, you had a situation, you called us, and now it's going to be fixed. So we appreciate you taking the effort, making that call, and now we can fix the issue, and hopefully it'll help everybody who goes to that branch or whatever.
Saratoga.
Gene in Saratoga is next. Gene, good morning.
Hello, Gene.
Hello?
Hello, Gene.
Good morning, Gene.
Hi.
Excellent. Go ahead.
Who's this?
You got Capital Off Track. You got a question?
Yeah, I do, but I was on hold and I got shut off.
No, you're not shut off, Gene. You're here. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm calling, and just not a complaint, but just something maybe you can do about it, is the fact that when I called my OTB account, and I'm a player during the Saratoga season, not necessarily otherwise, but I've been an account for a long time.
Yeah.
Many times I'm put to hold on to customer service for some reason. I always use the touch tone part of it, not the voice.
Right.
And I'm told that I never get to customer service. I've not one time been connected to customer service, even though I get the message, hold on, you have to talk to customer service. And I'm just wondering, maybe that's a technical situation that you could look into.
Okay.
But it happens quite often, and believe me, with the touch tone, you make more errors than if you're talking.
Yeah.
So it's the fact that maybe something you could look into. But sometimes I've missed some good bets from once in a while.
Okay, so you're saying from touch tone, you then hit a button to go to customer service directly from there, or you call separately?
I call. What I do is I call my touch tone.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
And then I'm putting my bets in, and then it comes on.
Oh.
Hold on, I have to transfer you to customer service.
Okay.
Well, I never get to customer service, and
call back,
I know that's a technical thing, and I have to call back. But when I do call back directly to customer service, they're very good at handling the situation.
I got you. Okay. No, so you're saying there might be a technical glitch there where it's forcing you to customer service, but you're not actually getting through. So
You're not making a bet.
Okay, and not getting your bet in. Okay. I'll definitely look at that, Gene. Thank you.
Thanks for your help.
Yep. Thanks, Gene. Next is Joe in Schenectady. Joe, good morning. Go ahead.
Hello, Joe.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
How you doing? This is questions for John.
Yes.
I got up this morning at 9:30, and Mormino was on the television giving his picks out. And I just got a question: is that taped or is that live?
It's live.
That's live.
He's as live as it gets, Joe.
That's not Memorex, I'll tell you that.
Well, answer me this question then. He's handicapping the card, and the turf races have been off the turf since 6:30 this morning. So it was a useless day for me to listen to this guy, because he doesn't even know that the turf races are off.
Well, that makes two of us right now.
Okay.
Have you checked yet?
Yeah, that's a good point.
We'll pass that along to Anthony, Joe, that you can find out earlier. So
well, I knew at 6:30 this morning, so
How'd you
I'll just
find
let
out?
you
Where'd
go by
you
that
find out?
and-
Joe, where'd you find out?
On the website. In fact, your website has it raining and everything. Don't you, at 7 o'clock this morning? Don't you think you go check?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, in all fairness, though, if Anthony handicapped last night and came in today and it was off at...
Well, you should have still known
yeah.
before you got on TV.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, and that's something we should incorporate into making sure we look at that prior to getting on the air. So that's a good point, Joe. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We'll definitely pass that along to Anthony.
Yeah, I would
Joe.
like, before we go to the next call, just one quick point. I mean, Tom, you mentioned it, the winter circle, what we do up there, and we continue to make improvements to the winter circle. We're going to put more seating up there. And we're putting a counter up there that you can sit at, and new betting machines, some of the e-terminals. I know that you like those.
Yes.
We're going to bring those up. They're going to be right on the counter. So we're going to make more room. I'll tell you, if you're a serious bettor, and I know the cost seems steep initially, but if you're a real player, I don't see how you're not a member. It's $500 per year. You get 100 racing forms. Now, if they're going to go up to $7, there you go. You get $700 back right there. Obviously, if you're a fan, you're gonna during Saratoga, you're gonna get the racing form every day. Even if you get on big days, you're gonna definitely use 100. We do contests up there. We have a deal with Ragazine. We're able to provide Ragazines up there. I wish Thorograph did that, but they wouldn't. Sorry. But Ragazine,
I know nothing.
Ragazine did it, and so I mean, if you're a serious player, you should really come by and visit the Winter Circle. Tom's a member. I know he touts it, and we have people there who take care of you. We have staff there who want to make sure you're comfortable and get everything you need. So just come by, come up for a day. We'll let you sit up there free for a day, see the accommodations, and believe me, if I didn't work here, and I would be a member. There's no doubt about it.
And I can add, John, if I didn't have an hour's drive to get there, I'd be a member too.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a terrific service. I think.
So people should
worth the money.
people should if you've ever thought of it, you should come by and check it out.
We're gonna take this call. We got a couple other calls on the line. We have to take a commercial break and one or two emails. So we're gonna talk to Vinny in Clifton Park, and then we're gonna take a break.
Vinny, good morning. It's your turn. Go ahead.
Hey, Nick and Tom, how you doing? John, it's your man, Vinny from Clifton Park.
Vinny, what's going on?
Okay, I got a problem with you, John.
Okay.
Psyched up for Saratoga. Okay, waiting for all the new shows. That AM Saratoga is like one of my favorite shows, and it didn't come on. Okay, you put on 64 Kelso races. You're showing the film of that. This is Saratoga. This is the greatest meet in the world. I want to hear those guys from AM Saratoga get so many people on there. They give out so much information, and the show didn't come on till the weekend. Why only 2 days?
Well, yeah. Vinny, just understand that's not our decision. That was New York City OTB's decision. New York City OTB. Hold on one second.
Didn't they say something about the money though? There was something about money that you guys.
No. The issue was that. New York City OTB you have to understand, they have to send all their staff here for the full week. They have to find accommodations for them for the whole meet. And what they decided to do, rather than do every day, was to do just weekends. I think they did Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or just Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday, Sunday.
That was their decision, not ours. We've always had a good relationship with them. As you know, Vinny, they are in losing a lot of money there, and I think that they were looking at their bottom line and saying, okay, we still want to have a presence in Saratoga, but we just can't do it to the extent that they've done it in the past. I think what we tried to do in the meantime was I think Tom and Nick had an extra show during the week.
Vinny, what are we, chop liver?
No, I'm just saying Saratoga is something different.
Right. Yeah.
Even if you weren't going to have those guys, get another Capital OTB person instead of showing movies. Come on, you got to get the guests on there. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Is bringing the jockeys on, the trainers, the owners, all that.
No, you're right, Vinny, and I think I still think we do it better than anybody else. We have something every day during Saratoga, and I think we give our patrons a lot through our TV station. We'll revisit that next year, Vinny. You also have to understand that when we were dealing with New York City OTB, they didn't know till the very end what they were going to do. So we were like, we were changing, midstream. So we tried to do the best we could. Next year we'll probably have, more structured kind of
Yeah, you're going to do
approach.
something in the morning because everybody gets worked up getting dressed for the track. They don't want to watch a movie about Kelso.
All right, I'm going to take that Kelso movie down, though, Vinny. You won't see that next year.
Please, I've seen it 6 times on here in the last 10 years.
We're going to show Let It Ride.
You got to admit, he was a good horse, though.
Yeah, he was a good, yeah, of course.
All right, Vinny.
Thanks, Vinny.
All right, see you
Thanks
later.
for the call.
Yeah.
2 things. I love Vinny. We got 2 callers. We're going to ask you for your
Kelso.
patience. We have to take a commercial break now, and I'll bring in a couple of these most recent emails. We'll be right back. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Amello, Nick Klain. We've got about 14 minutes left with John Signer, Capital OTB president. Stacy emailed us and asked a question about continuing to cut costs while keeping the branches. I think she's talking about the upper-level management costs, and poses the questions as to why can't Channel 12 work for all 6 regions, and why don't all the OTBs join up? Go ahead, John.
Well, I would say a couple things. Number one, we've cut spending more than anybody else in the state. We've cut spending 5 years in a row, to the tune of, I think, a total of $3 million. This year alone, $1 million. So I think we are doing those things, and we continue to look for ways to become more efficient. I mean, you don't want to cut to the point where there's no, you're hurting your business. So we continue to look for ways to run more efficiently, but we're a $50 million corporation, and you need people in certain positions to run the corporation. You can't just cut everybody out and just have the branches. It doesn't work like that. The other thing is, we're run by the counties. The counties benefit from us. Our money goes, what has happened over the years is more and more money is going to the state and to the tracks, and less money is going to the counties. It used to be the inverse. What we're saying is that, just make it more fair, the distribution model more fair. I'll give you 2 examples. Yonkers Raceway was closed for 18 months constructing their VLT operation.
Right. You keep paying them, right?
But New York City had to continue to pay them because it was called dark day payments. Mm-hmm. So since they weren't operating and taking bets through their simulcast, New York City had to pay them. So basically had to pay them for being closed, millions and millions of dollars. We pay Saratoga Harness, and I know Saratoga doesn't like to hear this, but it's true, and it's nothing personal, but we pay them excessively more than we should pay them. So we're just saying we want to continue to pay Saratoga Harness money and support them, and they're doing very well with their VLTs up there. They did, I think, $1.6 billion in bets last year through the VLTs. We're just saying, our money is taxpayer money, and we just want to be able to keep more of it to provide the services that we provide. And it's not to hurt anybody else, it's just to make us more financially strong. And I think if you look at capital, I would disagree. I think the fact that we have done better than everybody else shows that we are running a good shop. Not only is our handle decline the least, but it's also we're cutting spending the most. So I think we're not only concentrating on one area. We're concentrating on both sides of the ledger.
Two more emails. Dave suggests or says that he was one of the folks who complained about the little brown jug at the expense of Arlington, and he appreciates your response and says it's comforting to know the Capitol has good leadership at the top. I thought I ought to read that.
Well, that's, yeah. I mean, and I believe me, I do that, and generally, you know, they make the right decisions and put on the right tracks. But if there's a situation that I think can be rectified, and and obviously Arlington's a good track. It does, a very good handle for us. I want to have it available for our fans, and it's a good product.
And one more email before we go back to the phones. I think Richard wants to know why we don't go back to multi-screens with the 4 boxes.
Oh,
Putting people in the corner, so on and so on. I cringe at the 4, but no matter how big my TV screen is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we tried that when we first got here. It just didn't, while personally it didn't bother me, but it's hard for somebody who's home, far away from the TV, to see the odds or see who's in front, who's in the front, who's coming from behind. So I would say, kind of done there, tried that, and been there, tried that, and it didn't work. I think what we do now is probably the best approach, and I think the guys downstairs do a great job to make that happen.
And I want to go on record saying is I prefer full screen to any kind of split screen. Yes?
And you have to remember, when we first got here, they were doing live calls.
Yeah.
You were seeing the red screen with just the entries and live calls. We changed that to make it replays. I mean, I would much rather see the race 2 minutes later. As Shug McGahee says in that commercial, I'd rather see the race 2 minutes later.
Flip it off.
Yeah. I always said, if I'm back at my hotel, or back, it always says, like he says, back at the bar, but he says back at the barn.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That southern drawl.
And John, I would just want to add one other thing, about the customer service and that sort of thing, and I'm going to label this as my opinion. This is not coming from you. Saratoga Harness with their VLT revenues, customer service. Capital OTB, it's the other way around. I guarantee you, if you talk to the players that go to Saratoga Harness about their customer service, to the horse players, they get none.
All right, we got 3 callers on the line and 1 open line, and we're going to get you all in before we're out of here. So let's go.
Joan in Saratoga Springs has been a very patient person. Joan, thanks for your patience.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hi, Joan.
I had a question about the race results on television. I'm vision impaired, and I'm sure there are plenty of other people that are. I find it very difficult to read the white on gray lettering on the television.
Yeah, Naira, that's right, Joan. I agree with you. That's a Naira issue.
Thank you.
Okay.
And actually,
is there anything that can be done about that?
Yeah, we'll look at that, Joan. I wasn't aware that was an issue, so we'll look at that.
Joan, what you're talking about is the results from Saratoga and Belmont Park, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. John, I know. I don't have I'm one of the dinosaurs that still has a standard definition television.
Yeah.
And this white on gray lettering that they came up with is absolutely. If you're any distance away from a television, you cannot. If is it 560 or 530? Is it 660 or 860? You cannot tell.
All right. We'll look at that, Joan, and we can talk to Naira about that.
I'd appreciate that. And also, they seem to flash them on really quickly.
Yeah.
They're gone before. And again, because you're vision impaired,
right,
it takes a little bit longer to take in the whole line.
Okay. Yeah,
so
you're
if
right.
anything can be done about that,
Yep.
I'm sure there are other vision impaired people that would appreciate it too.
Okay. Yeah, I know
I do enjoy the show so much, and thank you for hearing my suggestions.
We appreciate that. Thank you for calling.
Yeah,
Call
thanks
again.
for the call.
And I guarantee you, Joan, I'll talk to Naira about that myself, because I allegedly with my glasses I've got 20/20 vision and I can't read it sometimes.
All right.
It was something better that didn't work.
Okay.
Gino in Albany has also been patient. Gino, thanks for waiting. Go ahead.
Well, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Gino.
Listen, John, my questions for you and my comments. First of all, doing a great job,
thank you.
both at the facilities and for us home viewers that play.
Thank you.
But my one tiny complaint is regarding the phone-a-bet system. Trying to do a touchstone or voice recognition with the 10-cent superfecta wheel, And I mean for larger wheel bets.
Right.
One by, key by 4x4 by 5 or something that's $3, or even greater. It seems to not handle the voice recognition or the touch tone very well.
Okay.
Is there a way to implement agents taking those types of bets if there's a minimum dollar amount for the wheel?
Yeah, let me, I'll check that, Gino. You are aware, we do offer that, I believe, on the internet as well, but if you use touch tone or voice, let me check that and see if we've had other complaints about that and see if there's something we can do to make it more accepting of those types of wagers. But if the issue continues to be a problem, let me know, and maybe we can designate some operators to handle that, to handle those 10-cent supers.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for the time, gentlemen.
All right. Great. Thank you.
And I'll just reiterate, John, that if anybody out there has the capacity to use the internet platform, I would use it. It is so simple that even a nitwit like me can't screw it up.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've been on other sites and I can't even figure out how to make a bet, but I go on our site and it's this very simple.
I don't mean to be a techno dinosaur, but if you have an iPhone today with internet access, can you be betting on the internet with your phone? Is that legal? I mean,
yes.
Okay.
Of course
So in
it's
other words, if
legal.
I get capitalotb.com, I can do it on my phone.
Of course you could.
Holy smokes! Okay.
It's a great country.
Okay.
Doc and Troy is next. Good morning, Doc. What's on your mind?
Good morning, gentlemen. Not what's on my mind, but I'm wondering if especially to John, I want to address this. If you're aware of the genesis of OTB in the Capital District, there was an organization called US Data, which I got involved with, that came in here and probably millions of dollars invested. Well, that was a total bust. And then we had the Davis-Etkin era, and I recall when all you could get on television were the results. You had to wait like 10 minutes after a race. You didn't see the race live.
Yep.
So, John, I want to say you've come a long way. For those people who complain, it's unbelievable, the evolution of OTB on TV. And, Nick, I want to address this to you.
Yes.
With those lovely blue bottles of Saratoga water in front of you, why are you drinking bottled water? Can't you open one of them?
Yeah, Nick,
Thank you, gentlemen.
Because these are props. We're not. If we touch these, we get arrested.
Yeah, and I would just add to Doc's comment. I mean, a lot of the things that get done are done by people behind the scenes who are doing it every day and putting out the best product we can. We give the direction, but we have great employees who do great work, and they're the ones who get the product out there to you, and they deserve a lot of the credit.
Let's go to Kopek.
Ron in Kopek. Ron, good morning. Go ahead.
It's great to talk to John. I think he's doing a fabulous job. And I have a question for John. John, you mentioned entries that are shown on the TV before the race, but it seems like it's only for the feature track, such as Belmont.
Yeah.
Once in a while, you'll go right to the live remote, and they'll show the horses parading. My problem is, if you got a track like Delaware or Calder, all you see is the outline of the odds, and it doesn't say. For instance, if the one horse is an entry, it'll only say one on it. Is there any way you can update, or is that part of your budget that you could possibly put in more entries for each tracks that are running on OTB 12? And I'll hang up, and you guys do a fantastic job. We're all spoiled.
I appreciate that, and again, it's the employee. We give the direction, but the employees do the work, and they deserve all the credit. I know in the past we did have the entries up for multiple tracks, especially when we were doing prime time and things like that. I think it's been scaled back. I'll have to look and see what kind of response we have received as a result of that. Are we getting complaints? Is it something? Maybe we can put up a second track. But I think for the most part, we'll have Belmont up. And then on dark days, I guess we'll probably Finger Lakes or somebody like that. But I'll look into that. I know this is the first I'm hearing somebody not complain, but ask for maybe other tracks be added because they were in the past. So I'll look into that and see if it's something that we can do. But I know again, we only have one TV station, and the more stuff we put up there, the less actual racing you're going to see. So I think that was probably behind some of the decisions. But we'll look at that, and it's a legitimate issue.
Two questions. Winner's Choice are available in the branches. Are they downloadable? Are they available by download?
No, but
okay.
But again, you can get you can go online and get free PP, you can see you can get it from there.
Two,
So
two emails. Let's say Frank wants to know why in one branch you can get Finger Lakes and not get Finger Lakes in another branch. Says it's OTB's fault. I don't know.
I don't
You mean
know
see the races?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I don't get that at all.
Yeah, just,
neither do I.
If Frank I assume Frank is listening. Send another email and describe what branches are which, and I'll look into it for
He
you.
says he's from Frankfurt, wherever. I don't know if there's a branch there.
Yeah, just give me send me a little information on what branches you're talking about, Frank, and I'll look into it directly, and I'll have an answer for you.
And Nikki, this is for both you and John, because you are the guys with juice and power, and I'm just the host here. Please have John ask the powers at NYRA to put a camera on the track so we can see the entered horse and not the lead pony during the post-birth.
Track fact salute to that emailer.
We would have almost 10, we've talked about that before. And I think you and I were talking that it looked like for a while they had done that.
I totally agree.
Yeah, we agree.
What you mean?
I mean, I think they're supposed to bring them back around where you can see them, but when they first walk out,
Right.
I don't know why.
They need an infield cam is what they need.
Yeah, they must have the pony on the outside because of the crowd or something to keep them away from the. I
Well,
don't know.
they has to be on the left side.
On the left side.
Okay.
But I mean.
We agree.
Emailer,
I agree.
you'd rather see the horse's feet and legs than the outriders pony?
That's right.
I
That's
can't believe
definitely.
that.
You know what? I will send.
You're not going to bet on the outriders pony?
I will send Charlie an email on that, and he may have a reason why they're not doing it. But I think I've noticed that as well. I think it totally makes sense. To
My
do
wife wants to see the horse as well, so she'll be happy with that one.
Yeah.
And I thought for a while, because we talked about it in the box before the meet was over, that it looked to me like they may have been using one of the head-on cameras from a different place to get the horses as they went out first, and then they switch come out. Anyhow, I think that's an important point.
And it made sense when they're looking at them in the paddock and they're walking around
How do you
the
want
paddock
to
that you're seeing them.
How do you want to wrap this up before I say goodbye?
No, I just we're very happy to have the loyal. We have Ed still, but
I'm sorry.
We're very happy to have the loyal patrons that we do who continue to wager with Capital OTB. We know there's a lot of competition out there. We try to do the best we can to meet the needs of the customers. On the internet side, you're going to see continued improvements to the internet site. As I said, we hope to have race replays up there very shortly. We're talking about some other initiatives that we're looking to do to get more information to the bettors and hopefully get them better educated to win more money. So
I thought we talked to Ed. So
No, we didn't.
We'll go to Ed.
Let's get to Ed. I'm sorry.
Ed in Amsterdam. Ed, you're the last caller. Go ahead.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
I got a couple of complaints. I'm a 55-year-old bettor. I go to OTB every day. I have no use for the computer or anything like that. I go down and I exotic bet triple supers and things like that. And I know everybody, a couple hundred friends, Amsterdam, Gloversville, Johnstown. And you're losing a lot of bettors because of two things. One thing is the New York bred garbage horses that don't run two in a row. You could throw the racing form in the garbage. And the maiden races are 60% of all the racing now. And everybody's kind of sloughing off. They're losing customers like mad, and nobody likes to bet those garbage tracks.
Ed, what do you? That's the racing secretary.
That's NYRA.
Yeah, okay.
That's NYRA.
What about these machines, though? Every time you go a last minute, I go a last minute bet. I run up to the machine and I'm putting a super in because it's 2 minutes, and I'm watching where the money's going, and I have to add a few horses to my super or a triple. Okay, and every time I go. I'm short $1 or $2. By the time I get $1 out, put the extra $1 in there. If it's $21 and I put a $20 bill in, the machine shuts off and I lose my bet. And I forgot what the hell I was going to bet last second. It's terrible.
All right. Yeah, well, two things. The first issue you raised is a NYRA issue and not an OTB issue.
Yeah.
The second issue is we are the OTBs are collectively putting out a tote bid, which will include all new machines, state-of-the-art equipment. We understand that a lot of the machines in our branches are antiquated and old and need to be replaced. And so we are looking to do that. We're hoping that goes out shortly. And then we have one tow company that all the OTBs are dealing with. and we're hoping to replace a lot of the antiquated equipment we have out there. So hopefully that'll be good news.
Okay, Ed, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. We want to thank you all for joining us. If you have any questions or comments, write us at TrackFacts, P.O. Box 554 in East Greenbush. Email us. You can get us at TrackFacts, TRKFACTS at nightcap.roadrunner.com or trackfacts@gmail.com. You get John Signer at viewermail@capitalotb.com, and he reads every one of them.
I do.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter and Kirk, for all your help today downstairs in the tech room. Stay tuned. Remember, the ARC next week, we'll be doing ins and outs around the ARC, analysis from Mark Kramer, plus all sorts of post-Big Belmont Day discussion. Have a great week. Get 4-1.
Whitehall Stable is having a breakout year. Hi, I'm Jim Pippo. I'm really excited to share this dream. I've put together an expert team that personally picks quality thoroughbreds.
We have an exciting roster of 2-year-olds this year. It's a great opportunity.
Shares are now available. Low risk to you at fair prices. I will manage your investment because it's also mine. See your horse run this year at Saratoga. Join the excitement. Go to whitehallstable.com or call today.
If you have any comments or suggestions, please write to the General Manager at the OTB Television Network, 510 Smith Street, Schenectady, New York, 12305.
This is the OTB Network.
This is great, a lot of fun. You're right next to the trainer, you're right next to the jockey.
I really felt they were the first organization that treated me as an individual, not as an investor. We've been in another racing partnership. You didn't even know who your other partners were. Harding Glass is like one big happy family.
Join Saratoga's original racing partnership. Visit us online at hardingglassracing.com.